Good morning and welcome. Great to see so many of you here this morning, bright and early. It's, I think, a testament to the first panel we have today. So we've been around the world and we're going back to a region that had a lot going on this year, and it's also a region we've never had a regional update from, the United Kingdom. So please join me in welcoming our third-year fellow and the Chief Executive of Imaginate, Paul Fitzpatrick, sorry.
A tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. When David asked me to do this first ever UK update in the light of recent events, he suggested that I start with a cultural reference or a quote. And this quote from the Scottish play was the first thing that sprang to mind. Not that Brexit signifies nothing, it signifies an awful lot. But what it actually means, we still don't know. Seeing as I only have 5 minutes, I'll stick to what happened, what it might mean, and I'll round up with a couple of cultural events happening in the UK this year. I'll start with what happened, as that is the easy bit. On June 23rd, David Cameron asked the UK a simple question. We weren't being asked to leave Europe, as in the continent made up of 44 countries, but whether to leave the political and economic union known as the European Union, which has 28 member countries. And we all know the result. The result in itself presents a picture of a divided country. But when you see how the different countries of the UK voted, a further division becomes apparent. Nicola Sturgeon, First Minister for Scotland, was the first political leader to make a public statement. At Bute House in Edinburgh, she said because 62% of Scots voted to remain in the EU, leaving was a significant material change and meant that a second independence referendum for Scotland should be on the table. Next, David Cameron resigned as Prime Minister and Theresa May replaced him. So, a country divided, a change in leadership, Scotland raising the question of independence. But what does it actually mean? The fact is, we don't know. What it feels like is that the vote is about much more than just Europe. But not according to Theresa May. She has given one consistent message. So, did the vote mean a growing disillusionment with UK politics? Does it mean a growth in racism and intolerance? Does it mean a rise in the far right? No. Brexit means Brexit. The government has come under increasing pressure to reveal their plans. Theresa May says revealing their plans will undermine negotiations. However, others, including senior civil servants, say they can't reveal a plan because there simply isn't one. It's a time of instability and uncertainty, which is not good for the economy, but it's times like this when arts come to the fore. Since the global financial crisis, in the UK, artists have responded with an increase in socially engaged practice, community-based practice, and projects about diversity and inclusion. So despite everything, Brexit may be a fertile ground for artists and a time of more, not less, international collaboration. But there's no getting away from the tangible effects of the vote. The loss in the value of the pound has been difficult for organisations like mine who present international works in the UK. We actually had to pull one show from this year's festival because we simply could no longer afford it, and we've been really tough in negotiations with other artists and organisations in the programme. One of the most unsettling things is not knowing what's going to happen with immigration. That presents a problem for organisations collaborating with EU partners. But more unsettling than that is for the 3 million EU citizens that live and work in the UK. We just don't know whether they'll be able to stay or not. In the context of Imaginate, that's 1/3 of our team. So, what's the good news? Well, immigration hasn't changed yet, and the fall in value of the pound makes 2017 a great year to visit the UK. There are 2 year-long cultural events happening in the UK this year, and both are an antidote to Brexit. The first is Hull, UK City of Culture, which kicked off last week. The programme is brilliant, really international and outward-looking. Secondly, Scotland is celebrating 70 years of Edinburgh as a festival city. Founded in 1947, the festival's mission was to provide a platform for the flowering of the human spirit in the wake of World War II. Obviously, August is the famous time to visit, but there are 12 festivals throughout the year, so come along anytime and celebrate our anniversary with us. So, is there a conclusion? My fear is that we will bury our heads in the sand, be terribly British and pretend nothing has happened. My hope is that artists and arts organisations will grab this moment and respond with more and more ways to say we're outward-looking, we're collaborative, and in the words of last year's Edinburgh International Festival, the world is welcome. Thank you.